Lila shivered. The dungeon was cold. Stone walls surrounded her. A single torch flickered in the distance, casting long, dancing shadows. Lila hugged herself, trying to stay warm, but hope warmed her more than her thin shawl ever could. She had her wits about her, and that was enough. Her eyes darted around the cell, searching for anything at all. In the corner, she saw it, a small piece of charcoal discarded. A smile touched Lila's lips. It wasn't much, but it was a start. She crawled towards the charcoal. Her fingers closed around it. It was rough against her skin, but it held potential. Lila knew what she had to do. She had to escape. She had to get back her magical paintbrush, stolen from her by the king's guards. They thought it was dangerous, powerful. They were right. It was her only hope. Lila closed her eyes, picturing her escape in her mind. She would need help. Small, discreet help. An idea sparked in her mind. Taking a deep breath, Lila began to draw on the cold stone floor. Lila poured all her hope into the drawing. Every line, every shadow. She drew a tiny mouse. Its nose twitched. Its whiskers quivered. Lila poured her will into the drawing, whispering, "Come alive, little mouse. I need your help." The charcoal drawing shimmered. Then the mouse twitched. It took a breath. And then it scurried to life. It was small, but it was real. Lila's heart soared. The magical paintbrush had given her this gift, the ability to bring her drawings to life. Even with a simple piece of charcoal, she could create something extraordinary. "Little mouse," Lila whispered, her voice barely a sound in the vast emptiness of the dungeon. "Can you do me a favor?" The mouse, no bigger than her thumb, looked up at her with beady black eyes. It scurried closer to her, its nose twitching. Lila pointed towards the sleeping guard outside her cell. The guard snored softly, his hand resting on the very paintbrush that Lila so desperately needed. "The brush," she whispered. "Bring me the brush, little friend." The mouse seemed to understand. With surprising agility, it darted towards the sleeping guard. Lila watched with bated breath. She had to believe. The mouse scurried up the guard's leg. The guard shifted. Lila's heart leaped. The mouse continued its ascent. It began to nibble at the guard's fingers. The guard grunted but didn't wake. Finally, the brush tumbled from his grasp. The mouse dragged the brush back to Lila. Determination fueled its tiny limbs. Lila took the brush into her hands. The magical energy within hummed faintly. It felt like coming home. Lila smiled down at the mouse. "Thank you, little friend." The mouse scurried into the shadows and disappeared. Section 4. An iron door and a painted key. Lila turned her attention to the iron door of her cell. It was thick and strong, with a heavy padlock. There was no way she could force it open. But Lila didn't need force. She had imagination, and her brush. She dipped the brush in the moonlight filtering in through the high, barred window. It was all the light she had, but it was enough. In her mind, she pictured the key. With a deep breath, she began to paint on the stone floor. The brush glided effortlessly over the rough surface. With each stroke, the key took shape. It was a simple key, but it shimmered with an inner light, a testament to the magic that infused it. Lila held her breath as she finished the last detail. The key glowed brightly for a moment. Then it solidified, becoming a real, tangible object. Lila picked it up. It was cold and heavy in her hand, but it represented freedom. Section 5. Outsmarting the Guards. Lila cautiously opened the cell door. The key turned with a satisfying click. She slipped out into the corridor. 2 guards patrolled the hallway, their footsteps echoing in the silence. Lila pressed herself against the wall, her heart pounding. She had to think fast. She couldn't overpower the guards, but she could outsmart them. Dipping her brush in the moonlight, she quickly painted a distraction. A large, snarling dog appeared on the opposite wall, its teeth bared, its growl echoing menacingly. The guard spun around, startled by the sudden appearance of the ferocious beast. It wasn't real, of course, but the guards didn't know that. They drew their swords, their eyes fixed on the snarling dog. Lila seized her chance. While the guards were distracted, she slipped past them, her footsteps silent on the cold stone floor. She didn't waste time looking back. She raced towards the exit, her heart a drumbeat in her ears. Section 6. Escape on Horseback. Lila burst out of the dungeon and into the cool night air. Freedom! It tasted like the wind in her hair and the earth beneath her feet. But her escape was far from over. She needed to put as much distance between herself and the castle as possible. She spotted the royal stables, bathed in the pale glow of the moon. An idea sparked in her mind. Lila crept towards the stables, her brush ready. She found the largest stall, home to the king's prized white stallion. The horse snorted, sensing her presence. With a few strokes of her brush, Lila painted a saddle and bridle on the horse's back. They materialized instantly, fitting the horse perfectly. She led the horse out of the stable. It was a magnificent creature, strong and swift. Lila mounted the horse, her heart soaring with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. She urged the horse into a gallop. They raced across the drawbridge, the sound of their hooves thundering in the night. The castle, a dark silhouette against the moonlit sky, receded into the distance. Section 7. Freedom in the Hills. Lila rode through the sleeping village, careful not to raise the alarm. The villagers were safe in their homes, oblivious to the drama unfolding on their doorstep. She guided the horse towards the safety of the hills, where the trees would offer concealment and the darkness would be her ally. As dawn approached, she reached the foothills. The first rays of sunlight painted the sky in hues of pink and orange. Lila dismounted, her legs stiff from the long ride. She patted the horse's neck gratefully. "Thank you, my friend," she whispered. "You've served me well." With a final pat, she set the horse free. It galloped away, a white blur against the emerging light. Lila watched it go, a sense of accomplishment washing over her. She was free. For now, she was safe. The magical paintbrush was hers once more, and as long as she had it, she knew she could face whatever challenges lay ahead. The world was a vast canvas, and she was ready to paint her own destiny.